Coptuah Cop Bryan Fahey cops a deal after threatening to unalive independent journalist Paul Reyes. This and more in today's video.
Oh, come on, darling.
I need to take you up the stairs then.
Hello, and welcome back, roommates, to another titillating edition of Alexasrewm, where we are not lawyers, we are not medical professionals, and we are not law enforcement. We are just people who have opinions about all things going on in the true crime community, including guy who looks like he waterboards his own reflection when it talks back, Coptuah Cop Bryan Fahey gets 18 months of accelerated rehabilitation, whatever the duck that means, after threatening to shoot independent journalist Paul Reyes back in July.
Bryan Fahey, I'm a Connecticut state trooper.
Yes.
And I got somebody trespassing on my property. I live on Pendleton Farm Lane. No!
What's the address? What's the address?
Get out of my way. I have a gun, and I'm going to go shoot him right now.
Address?
Get out of my way. I have a gun, and I'm going to go shoot him right now.
I mean, I can't even imagine whatever the duck goes on when Alexa says, "Sorry, I didn't quite catch that." So this took place in Groton, Connecticut a couple of months ago, where a former state police sergeant was arrested following a confrontation that took place in front of his house. On July 11th, a YouTuber and his cameraman, so the Long Island Audit, you may know him as also Paul Reyes, parked a digital billboard outside the former state police sergeant Bryan Fahey's home in Groton. And the billboard displayed a previous interaction that had Fahey in 2021 at the state police headquarters in Middleton. And I believe that was the first or one of the first interactions the two of them had. And this is where Reyes had gone to the home to confront Fahey over his alleged abuse of overtime. So that was the story he was investigating based on all this information he had been receiving from different sources. I think Paul Reyes had alleged he was clocking in like 12-hour days every day and making $85,000 plus per year in overtime. So again, much like Turtle Boy and his investigative tactics, he went to his house and started asking him some questions, right? He went first to the police headquarters to investigate this, and then so on and so forth. And in this video of this confrontation, Fahey is seen grabbing a firearm and spitting on Paul Reyes. And the incident was then investigated by the Office of the State Attorney's Judicial District of Windham. And as a result of their investigation, the 53-year-old Bryan Fahey, Brian Teletubby lookalike, was arrested and charged with disorderly conduct, which is what this hearing was all about. And he was released on a court-set promise to appear for arraignment at Danielson Superior Court on September 3rd. And shout out to Justice Serve TV for covering this case, as well as providing clips from this hearing, as well as the audio and follow-up interview with Paul Reyes afterward.
And so I will find that the charges against Mr. Fahey are not so serious as to conclude the grant that they are. And I will grant accelerated deportation for a period of 18 months. That is 6 months longer than the average grant of AR. Is to incur no arrest for which a court will find probable cause. Is to initiate no contact.
So in other words, all Sergeant Spittoon has to do is be a good boy or act like a good boy for the next 18 months and stay away from Paul Reyes, as well as talk about his anger issues with a therapist or counselor. So not really taking full accountability for his actions or getting really any justice for making these violent threats towards Paul Reyes. And obviously, he was only charged with disorderly conduct. It's not up to the court to decide what he was going to get charged with. It's up to the state, right? And Paul Reyes wanted this to be bumped up to felony threatening because, hello, he threatened to shoot him. He threatened his life. But let's hear the state's galaxy brain reason for keeping the charges at disorderly conduct.
The state feels that disorderly conduct is the appropriate charge. The state has researched the assault statute. The assault statute requires physical injury or pain. That, in the state's estimation, doesn't occur here. Additionally, there is, under the assault on public safety personnel, a specific reference to feces, urine, saliva being hurled or thrown at a public safety officer, and that's why that charge is different than the assault charge. Obviously, if the legislature chose to change that, they could. They have not to date. I need to charge on what's there. In watching the video, Mr. Fahey never, in the state's estimation, as they chest bumped out to the street, raised that firearm towards Mr. Reyes. He turned over the firearm when Groton arrived.
So basically, if a cop spits at you and you're just a regular citizen, that's fine. And I guess merely holding a gun at your side, out of its holster, whilst you're off duty, is only considered threatening if you physically point it at the person you're threatening to shoot. And I guess because Paul Reyes didn't hear him say, "I'm going to shoot you," because that was only heard over the 911 call. But he knew, because he said it. And the 911 operator heard it. And whoever was conducting this investigation heard it. But I guess it's only threatening if the other person hears it first. And you actually pull a trigger, or you start waving it in front of somebody's face. But that's all good and fun, folks, because he handed over his firearm as soon as his buddies rolled up from the Groton Popo. So, and as we're going to see in a couple of minutes, when he first answers the door, which he doesn't even need to do because, hello, you have a Ring camera and you can see on your app when somebody's at the door. You could also look outside the window and be like, yeah, I'm not going to answer that. After you asked him to leave and he started leaving, you decided to go back in your house and then come back out, even though you could see he was leaving. Now, also, too, as we're going to learn, Coptuah Cop makes these claims during this 911 call that, oh, Paul Reyes, he's been harassing me for years and making these online threats to me and my family. Well, if that's the case, and you know who he is and you know what he looks like, why would you again then answer the door and not call 911 as soon as he came up to your property, sir? So then Paul Reyes delivers a couple of home truths to the court, laying the groundwork of some of the actual facts. But of course, this all kind of landed on deaf ears, or at least ears with a police union ringtone.
Judge, I just wanted to clarify that the state's attorney did a great job at defending Mr. Fahey here, but I did want to give all the video footage to the investigators. It doesn't show anything other than beforehand meetings with, so it's not something I'm trying to hide. I was advised by my attorney, Stephen Seeger, not to provide the video. I have no problem doing it, but I was advised by my attorney and I listened to my attorneys, so it's not something that I'm trying to hide from the state or anybody. The entire interaction between myself and the defendant is recorded, unedited, other than what the state police say, that I edited out trespassing signs that don't exist, that my cameraman had a mask and a hood on, all types of lies, Judge, that are verifiably false. And again, I only brought up the prior incidents to show this is a pattern. I understand that's not what it's being charged with here today. And as far as me not understanding his behavior, Fahey went back inside, the defendant Fahey went back inside, he should have stayed inside. He came outside because he wanted to shoot me. That is evident here.
So now I want to jump over to the 911 call. I'm not going to play all of it, but I will link it in my show notes below. But I do want to play just a couple of minutes of it since it lines up with some of the Ring camera footage that we haven't seen yet before, as well as what exactly happens. What did they see from that perspective versus the perspective and the story and the unfolding of the events according to Long Island Audit, and see whose story really stacks up.
You are currently being recorded.
Oh, I'm currently being recorded.
Can I help you?
Hey, Sergeant Fahey, how are you?
You gotta get off my property. Posted no trespassing right now.
Posted sign.
Yeah,
There's no
right at the end.
problem. Do you have any? Let's go. Do you have any comments on the allegations that you
Get off my property right now.
Do you have any comment on the allegations that you are receiving?
911, Town's emergency.
Hey, it's Bryan Fahey. I'm a Connecticut State Trooper.
Yes.
And I got somebody trespassing on my property. I live on Pendleton Farm Lane. No!
What's the address? What's the address?
Get out of my way. I have a gun, and I'm gonna go shoot him right now.
Address?
Get out of my way. I have a gun, and I'm gonna go shoot him right now.
Address.
And he left my property right now.
So that little faint voice in the background shrieking, Brian, no, is, I'm presuming, his wife, Kimberly. So I'm assuming Kimberly wouldn't be shrieking, Brian, no, unless she really thought and was afraid he was going to do exactly. Which kind of gives me the impression of maybe this has happened before, which is terrifying. But that's not threatening behavior, right? So then he follows him down the driveway, chases him out, and again, you can see all that from the original video that was shared on Long Island Audit's YouTube channel. He starts making all these allegations of, oh, well, you know, he's had, I know exactly who this is. This kid's been harassing me online, making threats, yada, yada. And then later on, we'll hear from his wife, Kimberly, when she decides to phone in 911 as well. But something of note as well, where on the property is there no trespassing signs? And if there are, well, they must be hidden because, I mean, I can't see anything. And I know I'm blind as a bat, but usually when somebody has a no trespassing sign, that's the first thing you see when you're first walking up to their property before you even hit their driveway. And his house is pretty tucked away too, so do you guys see any no trespassing signs? I don't. But again, I want to fast forward a little bit ahead. So this is a later portion of the 911 audio.
I have a gun in my hand, and I'm walking back to my house.
Hold on. Trooper Fahey, we have a number of officers on the way. What does the suspect look like?
His name is Sean Paul Reyes. He's standing at the end of my goddamn driveway.
Okay, who is
he? He's some First Amendment auditor. He's threatened to kill me online. I've got thousands of fucking threats online to kill me. And this fucking kid comes down and knocks on my fucking front door with my family here.
Apparently that auditor is threatened to kill him.
If you're the one who's making the threat, would you knock on the door in the middle of the day in broad daylight? What's he like as a neighbor? Has this happened before? I can't imagine it hasn't.
Now we're about to listen to Kimberly Fahey's 911 call. I want to preface it by stating two things. One, she is holding up her middle finger in the graphic because that's what she did in public, gave peaceful protesters the middle finger as well as stalked them in her vehicle. Two, during the call, I do not believe she is scared for herself or for her husband, but she is scared because, in my opinion, her husband, even after her pleading with him to stay inside the house, went outside with a loaded firearm ready to shoot me, and she was worried her husband was about to shoot a man unjustly. Again.
911, what town is the emergency?
Mystic, Connecticut, please come to my house right now.
Okay,
someone trespassing.
Okay, my partner's already sending officers your way. What's going on right there?
Quicker!
What's going on?
Please come. There's someone who's been harassing my husband. He's a Connecticut State Trooper. He's trespassing on her. Please.
Okay, there's no weapons involved, right?
I don't know.
Well, Kimberly, that's a flat out lie because we heard on the other 911 call that there is a weapon involved, except there's no weapon involved from the innocent, inquiring mind that is the journalist who was already leaving the property when asked. And thank God he didn't turn around and have his back to Fahey because he probably would have gotten shot, in my opinion. But you hear the frantic and the panicking. And I agree with him, is she's not afraid of the supposed threat that she's claiming to be afraid of. She's afraid of her husband. Which I can't even imagine what the inside of that house looks like. And he's got a daughter and everything. It's just, Yikes.
Okay, my partner's already dispatched officers, okay? 21
Please.
on the way.
They need to go quicker.
Okay, what?
Kylie, keep the door closed. Keep the door
15
closed,
on the
Kylie. Please.
15 on the way. Okay, what is happening? What is
They
physically
have been harassing
happening?
him.
Yep.
This Long Island Audit guy has been harassing my husband. We have no trespassing signs. He's on our property. He came to our front door. He lured my husband out on the front lawn. Someone
Girl, he answered the door, and when he first answered the door, he was like very calm. And it wasn't until Jean-Paul Reyes said, "Hey, Sergeant Fahey, how you doing?" that he started getting crazy and unhinged and jumped into lunatic mode. He didn't lure him out. He went inside. Closed the door. Case closed. If he had stayed inside, I'm fairly certain that Jean-Paul Reyes would have stopped asking questions. Because at that point, you're making your point of, I'm inside. I'm not going to answer any questions. In fact, that's all he could have said, too. Is I'm not answering any of your questions. Please leave my property. Okay, cool. But also, Bish, where are the trespass signs? Because I didn't see any. And apparently she also makes allegations, too, that his camera guy was wearing a mask and a hoodie.
needs to come now,
Okay,
please.
okay, but what is happening on the front lawn? Are they arguing?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know. What say you guys? What do you think? Do you think that Jean-Paul Reyes was demonstrating any threatening behavior towards Sergeant Fahey? Or do you think it was the opposite? Do you think that disorderly conduct appears to be the appropriate charge for this confrontation? The only person who seemed to be doing the confronting, the guy with the firearm in his hand who's spitting all over the place. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. Now, what is next? It seems like Jean-Paul Reyes is going to continue to sue Sergeant Fahey since the criminal court gave him a sticker and basically told him to use his inside voice. And he has his own criminal charges that have also been filed against him. So it's a lot of back and forth, back and forth. Very, very similar to what, again, is going on with Turtle Boy. So if you're interested in what's going on with Norfolk County and Turtle Boy's cases, well, you'll probably be really interested to know what's going on in Connecticut, because it isn't only happening in the state of Massachusetts. It's happening in a lot of different states. So I definitely recommend doing a deeper dive into that. And Justice Serve TV has done a really good job of covering this, as well as a couple of other channels. So again, I will link that in my show notes below. And word on the street is he's trying to crawl his way into another department, perhaps working for the tribal police. So we shall see, and I will keep you all updated if you guys are interested in what's going on here on this channel. So if you enjoyed today's content, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you don't miss that next update from me, and make sure you hit that like button, because that tells the YouTube algorithm that this is newsworthy news, and it is corruption is happen. And the best way we can get it to stop is by not shutting up and continuing to shine a light on these cases, because again, mainstream media doesn't seem to really care about the rights of journalists, which kind of seems ass backwards, but tomato tomato. So thank you so much for watching, and until next time.